Welcome to Cruise News for the Week on May 4th, 2025 with your hosts Joe and Donna of Stellar Insights on our YouTube channel, Travel 1609.
We now have over 11,000 subscribers and 6 million views on our channel.
Amazing! Thank you all for tuning in and subscribing.
And welcome back, everyone. This isn't your typical quick news hit.
No, this is the deep dive. We're taking the cruise news from the week of May 4th, 2025, the stuff that really caught our eye, and digging in a bit deeper.
Right. We've looked at the sources, and the idea is simple. Pull out the insights that actually mean something for you, the cruiser.
And it was quite a week, wasn't it? NCL, Norwegian Cruise Line, definitely had a lot going on. Seems like they're really focusing on updating the fleet.
They really are. Some pretty specific enhancements designed to, improve that onboard experience.
Okay, so let's start with the Norwegian Epic. It just came out of dry dock, right? May 8th. What jumped out at you there beyond just a refresh?
Well, the upgrades are pretty targeted, which is interesting. Sure, there's a new hot tub up on deck 18. That's always nice.
Can't go wrong with another hot tub.
Exactly. But look at the redesigned Kids Aqua Park, and then the expanded Vibe Beach Club. They added more seating, another hot tub, private cabanas.
So catering to both ends. Families and adults looking for that exclusive space.
Precisely. Creating distinct zones, you could say. And they squeezed in 8 new staterooms, too.
Oh, yeah. What kind?
Balcony and ocean view. So bumping up capacity in those popular categories.
Makes sense. And the Epic's got those Med and Greek Isles cruises coming up from Rome, then the Caribbean from San Juan later. So they're getting the ship ready for some pretty desirable routes.
That's exactly how it looks, aligning the ship's features with where it's sailing. Then you've got the Pride of America getting upgrades all through May. What did you notice there?
The Pride of America stuff feels very practical. Like a new Starbucks on deck 5, that's going to be a hit, right?
Oh, definitely. A guaranteed crowd pleaser.
And pickleball courts. I mean, that shows they're paying attention to what's popular right now, not just shuffleboard.
It does. It's about keeping current. And they also added 12 new club balcony suites and 3 inside rooms on deck 12. So again, more options.
Widening the choices.
Yeah, and moving the kids' spaces to deck 6, putting in a new library and card room. It feels like a smart reshuffle of the public areas. Maybe better flow, dedicated quiet spots versus active spots.
And this is all just before they restart those year-round Hawaii cruises from Honolulu at the end of May. Those are unique itineraries, especially with the overnights in Maui and Kauai.
Big selling points. So these upgrades really seem aimed at enhancing that specific Hawaii experience.
Yeah, it fits.
And, you put that alongside the Norwegian Aqua now sailing out of Port Canaveral on those Eastern Caribbean runs. NCL is clearly investing and deploying strategically.
Okay, switching gears. Celebrity. They've got Celebrity XL coming in November 2025. And the first big news seems to be about food.
Right. Their first ever dedicated brunch spot. That's interesting, with an alfresco Mediterranean menu, apparently.
Brunch focus, huh? Kind of leans into that relaxed, maybe slightly upscale vibe Celebrity has.
I think so. It signals maybe more diverse dining, less reliance perhaps on just the main dining room or buffet. And they mention more variety and entertainment, too, so it sounds like a broader upgrade for this next Edge-class ship.
Okay, now for something completely different. Seabourn 2027 World Cruise.
Oh.
Wow.
Yeah, wow is right. The Seabourn Quest, 145 nights. It's called the Australia and South Pacific Panorama.
145 nights.
Round trip from Miami, January to May 2027. We're talking nearly 34,000 nautical miles, 67 destinations, 19 countries.
That's not a cruise, that's an expedition, a life event almost.
Definitely caters to a very specific, dedicated traveler, someone who wants deep immersion.
Incredible. Okay, back to the mainstream lines. MSC is boosting its family game starting this June.
Yeah, this really highlights how crucial the family market is. They're expanding their existing family entertainment, new activities, game shows, parties, even parades, trying to make it more engaging for kids and, the whole family unit.
Makes sense. Families are a huge part of cruising.
And tied into that, sort of, is the news about their new terminal down at Port Miami. Reports say it's really streamlining embarkation.
Oh, that's always welcome news. Anything that makes getting on the ship faster.
Exactly. Sounds like it's giving even Royal Caribbean and Celebrity a run for their money in terms of efficiency there.
Good for MSC.
Yeah.
Now, sticking with families, but a very specific brand, Disney and Castaway Cay.
Right. Only Disney ships go there. It's their private island in the Bahamas.
What's the big deal about having a private island like that?
Well, for Disney, it's huge. It's a controlled environment, perfectly themed, loads of family activities, excursions, beaches.
Yeah.
It fits their brand perfectly. And it's close to Port Canaveral, so it's an easy, desirable stop. Guests know exactly what to expect.
Gotcha. Total brand immersion. Okay, let's talk Carnival. Always lots happening there, from tech to, well, passenger behavior.
Yeah, starting with the ships. The Fantasy class, Elation in Paradise, still sailing strong. But interestingly, they're trying out mobile app check-ins for shore excursions.
Oh, digital confirmations.
Yeah.
Meeting times on your phone.
Exactly. It's part of that bigger industry push towards using tech for convenience.
Definitely smoother than paper tickets. But then there's the other side. Reports of 5 passengers getting lifetime bans.
Yeah, that came up. Linked to incidents like that brawl at the Galveston terminal we heard about before, it shows Carnival is serious about cracking down on disruptive behavior.
A lifetime ban is serious. Sends a message.
It really does. They need to maintain a safe, positive atmosphere for everyone else. It's a reminder about the code of conduct.
Absolutely. And for people actually on Carnival soon, some itinerary changes for Venezia and Mardi Gras next year, swapping Grand Turk for Amber Cove on a few sailings.
Yeah, those things happen. Operational reasons, port availability, who knows?
Okay.
But it means a different port experience for those guests.
Something to be aware of if you're booked.
And also for Carnival cruisers, that vaping policy clarification. It's only allowed in designated smoking areas.
Right, not cabins, not bars, just specific outdoor spots and maybe the casino.
That's the gist. And they mention potential fines if you break the rules, so definitely something to know and follow.
Good reminder. Okay, let's hop over to Royal Caribbean. Anthem of the Seas is making a big move.
Huge move. First time ever heading to Alaska. It just finished its winter season over in Asia, Singapore area, and now it's repositioning for the Alaska summer.
Shows how strong that Alaska demand still is. Deploying a Quantum-class ship there is significant.
Definitely. And speaking of deployments and logistics, Royal's also dealing with an overbooked Allure of the Seas sailing from Rome on May 15th.
Overbooked. Ouch. How are they handling that?
Pretty generously, it sounds like, offering potentially up to 2 free future sailings for people willing to downgrade their cabin or switch to the Odyssey of the Seas sailing a few days later.
2 free cruises.
Yeah.
Wow, that's significant compensation. Shows they want to keep people happy despite the mess up.
Absolutely a strong gesture. We also saw that Icon of the Seas, the big one, had to skip Labadee on its May 3rd trip.
Yeah, what happens then?
Standard procedure, really. They offered onboard credit as compensation for the missed port. It happens sometimes. Weather, local issues.
Right. And separately, someone on Allure apparently wasn't happy with their cabin choice. Noise issues.
Yeah, a report popped up about that. It's just a good reminder, isn't it? Always research your cabin location, near elevators, under the pool deck, above a nightclub. It can make a real difference to your sleep.
So true. Do your homework. Okay, Princess Cruises. What's new there?
Well, we saw a mention of Celebrity Summit sailing from Vancouver May 23rd, probably Alaska bound. There was a slightly confusing mention of Celebrity Beyond around the same time in one source.
Ah, maybe a typo somewhere. Happens.
Could be. But the main point is activity in the Pacific Northwest. The bigger Princess news, though, was about the drink packages.
Oh yeah, the canned soda thing. That's stirred up some discussion.
Definitely. Taking canned soda out of the Standard Plus and Premier packages, making people pay extra, even with a discount, that's not going to sit well with everyone who prefers cans over fountain drinks.
No, I could see people being unhappy about that. It feels like taking something away.
It does. It makes you reevaluate if the package is still worth it for you. And they also announced changes to all ports of call for one specific 2025 itinerary, but didn't give many details yet.
Anyone on that sailing needs to keep an eye out.
For sure.
What about Costa Cruises? Any fleet news?
Couple of things. Costa Fortuna is set to leave the fleet in September 2026. That's pretty far out, but it's planned.
Part of the normal ship life cycle, I guess.
Exactly. And more immediate, Costa Serena is getting a big dry dock in November this year. They're adding a new food court, among other things.
Food court. Interesting.
Yeah.
Like more casual, varied options.
Seems like it. Modernizing the dining, catering to that demand for more flexible eating choices on board.
Makes sense. Now that expedition market seems like it's still booming.
According to Swan Hellenic's CEO, yes. He commented that the market, especially for places like Antarctica, isn't saturated yet. Still room to grow.
So more expedition ships likely coming.
Seems like they believe so. And Swan Hellenic themselves are introducing these customizable celebration voyages next year, trying to attract maybe anniversary or milestone travelers to expedition cruising.
Interesting angle. Broadening the appeal.
And speaking of expansion, the Oriental Land Group, the folks behind Tokyo Disneyland, They're planning a second cruise ship.
Really? That's a big move for them, isn't it? Expanding beyond Japan.
It suggests they see real potential in the cruise market, likely leveraging their entertainment expertise. Could be significant for the Asian cruise scene.
Interesting. And Lindblad Expeditions, another expedition player, they just launched a new onboard booking program this week.
Yeah, pretty standard tactic, really. Encourage people to book their next cruise while they're still on the current one and feeling good about the brand. Locks in future business.
Smart move. And Virgin Voyages, keeping the party going.
Seems like it. They revealed the headliners for the rest of their 2025 celebration voyages. Reinforces that entertainment-heavy, adult-focused niche they've carved out.
They definitely have a distinct brand. Okay, let's talk infrastructure. Big news out of Port Canaveral.
Huge news. A $500 million investment plan called Port Canaveral Advantage.
$500 million. What are they spending it on?
A lot of things, but big focus on cruise. They're expanding Cruise Terminal 5 by about 65% to handle bigger ships. That's already designed and moving forward.
Wow. To fit the Oasis class or Icon class ships?
Likely, yeah. And they're doing a study right now, due next month, on potentially expanding Cruise Terminal 10 to handle the absolute largest ships out there, up to 5,600 passengers, needing 1,200 feet of berth space.
So serious future-proofing for the megaships.
Totally. Plus, they're doing upgrades to the outside of Cruise Terminal 1 right now. New canopies, walkways, lighting. It's a major commitment across the board to handle more traffic and improve the experience.
That's going to make a big difference for anyone cruising out of Canaveral.
No doubt. It impacts the whole region.
We also saw a Reddit cruise roll call for May. Just glancing at it, the sheer variety is amazing, isn't it?
It really is. Norwegian Getaway, Brilliance OTS, Holland America, Royal Caribbean ships in Alaska and Europe, Virgin, NCL, Celebrity, Carnival, all over the place. Baltic, Med, Caribbean, Alaska.
Just shows how massive and diverse the industry is right now. People are cruising everywhere.
Absolutely. A real-time snapshot.
Okay, 2 quick final points. First, Real ID. The deadline hit May 7th. We need to be clear on this.
Yes. Super important. For domestic flights in the U.S., you now need Real ID or another accepted form like a passport. But for cruising?
It generally does not change the requirements for most international cruises, right?
Yeah.
Your passport is still the key document. Or for closed-loop cruises, often a birth certificate and government ID.
Exactly. Don't panic about Real ID specifically for your cruise plans. Focus on having the right documents the cruise line requires, which is usually a passport.
Good clarification. And lastly, the never-ending topic, tipping.
Yes. Still sparking debate. Saw some chatter about tipping Alaska tour guides specifically and just general tipping on Royal Caribbean cruises.
It's always controversial, isn't it?
It is. Because there's no single right answer. It depends on the service, your budget, the length of the trip. It's very personal.
True. No easy rule. So, wrapping up this deep dive, quite a mix this week. Big ship upgrades, new ship announcements.
Lots of itinerary adjustments, too, keeping people on their toes. Continued focus on families, which is always a theme.
And those ongoing passenger experience debates, like cabin noise or how much to tip.
Yeah, the goal here was really just to pull back the curtain a bit on these headlines, give you a little more context for what they might mean down the line.
So here's something to chew on. With all these changes, ships getting bigger, more complex, new tech, shifting itineraries, even these debates about cost and service. How is this all going to change the actual feel of cruising in, say, 5 or 10 years?
That's the big question, isn't it? What parts of these developments really excite you, or maybe even concern you as you think about your own future travels?
Something to ponder. Thanks for joining us for the deep dive.